So we continue with economics. Today we're going to talk about indicators of economic growth, social cohesion, and inequality. So we're going to start with economic growth. When I talk about economic growth, it simply means increase in the national output. That means the output of the country in terms of goods and services produced in that country has increased over time. So we can measure the economic growth of a country based on its GDP. That is what it means. So the economic growth of a country can be measured through its GDP, which is the measurement of the PPC. So which GDP is the value of the national output of goods and services produced in a country. That is what GDP is. So we can measure the growth of an economy through the value of its output in terms of goods and services produced in that country. So however, measuring the economic growth of a country using GDP, GNI, and GNP does not reflect the welfare of the people. Yes, we can use GDP to measure economic growth, but it does not really reflect how people within that economy are living, the quality of life they have. It does not reflect it. It only reflects on the outputs in terms of goods and services produced in that country. Therefore, the United Nations come up with the Human Development Index to measure the welfare of an economy in terms of the people living within the economy. So that takes us to Human Development Index. So what is Human Development Index? It's the composite statistic that measures the country's average achievements in terms of health, education, and the living standard. So when we talk about HDI, it's a measurement that gives us, it's a feature that allows us to know how people live within an economy or within a country. It measures the quality of healthcare, the quality of education, and the quality of life. And that is how we can know the welfare of the people within an economy. So that's about HDI. Then we have social cohesion and inequality. What does social cohesion mean? Social cohesion simply means our togetherness. What brings us together as a society, as individuals, and now as a society? What brings us together? So here I'm going to read. Social cohesion implies the strength of relationship that binds people within the society together. What binds people within the society together? So what are those factors that we would see that brings about social cohesion? The first one is relationship and connectedness. I want to talk about relationship and connectedness. How are we related? Oh, my father is a Nigerian, or my mother is a Nigerian, so I'm a Nigerian. Relationship. Oh, my uncle is this. Whatever brings us together as a community, that is the first one, which is relationship and connectedness. The kind of link we have as individuals and to the society. The second one is cooperation. I want to talk about cooperation. That means our willingness to be able to work together can bring about social cohesion. So another factor that will determine social cohesion is the willingness, the ability to work with other people. So here I'm a Nigerian, but I'm working in Libya. It simply means I've agreed to work in the Libyan environment, and that could also bring about social cohesion. And the third one is trust. When we talk about trust, we're talking about the level of trust individuals have among each other and in the institution. And when we talk about institution, we're simply talking about the different sectors of the economy. So what trust do we have? The level of trust we have within these institutions and amongst us as individuals can also bring about social cohesion. And the last one is our shared identity. And when we talk about identity, it simply means what we are, who we think we are, and how we want to be called or addressed within the society. And that can also bring about social cohesion. And that takes us to inequality. And when we talk about inequality, we're simply talking about unequal distribution of wealth, unequal distribution of income in the society. So I'm going to read further. Income inequality. This applies to how income earned in a country is being distributed unequally across the nation. That means there's no equal opportunity in terms of income, in terms of access within the society, and that is what we call inequality. So what are the effects of inequality to the economy? The first one, it threatens growth. With income inequality, it simply means certain individuals are below the bottom line of income, and because they are below the bottom line of income, they might not have the financial capability to invest on education and training. And because they cannot invest on education and training, it reduces their abilities, like potentials. It reduces their skills and their potentials. And because their potentials are reduced, it simply means they might not be able to contribute to the growth of the economy. And if they are unable to contribute to the growth of the economy, it simply means the economy will be going down. That's the first the first effect of inequality. It threatens economic growth. The second one is that it undermines social fairness. Inequality may lead to lack of social cohesion, as those in the bottom may feel excluded, they feel inferior. Now, with income inequality, it might mean that certain individuals within the group or the society will feel like they feel excluded from the society, they feel remote from the society because they do not have the financial capability to have their own say, they do not have access to what other people have access to, and that might make them to feel excluded from the society, and that is social unfairness, and that might also bring about lack of social cohesion, and that might lead to lack of social cohesion. And the third one is it can lead to inequality of opportunity. So when we talk about inequality of opportunity, we're simply talking about what people have access to. With income inequality, it simply means the rich are becoming richer and the poor are becoming poorer. So the rich generation will pass on their riches or wealth to their next generation, while those that are poor might be stuck in the poverty trap, because wealth, they don't have access to income, they don't have access to wealth that would have moved them out of the poverty trap. So what is poverty trap? Poverty trap simply means those economic or social factors that makes it difficult for people to move out of poverty. And with income inequality, some people will be what? Some people will be stuck in multi-generational poverty trap, which simply means the generation that is poor will be passing on poverty to the next generation and generation to the next. So that is what poverty trap is, and this is simply based on income inequality. But if income is, at least if the gap between the rich and the poor is reduced, that might reduce poverty trap, or that might make people to move out of poverty trap. So this is about income inequality, social cohesion, and economic growth. Thank you.